I got a bunch of different information here in regards to earthquakes, and looking at the maps here, you can see some of the latest activity here on these ridge lines that I talk about often. We're seeing activity, especially along these sides in the past. These are very odd quakes that you're seeing, especially this one, hitting out in an area where they don't normally hit this large. We don't normally see activity. But as you can see here, offshore in Mexico, we had a magnitude 6. And near the coast of Nicaragua, there's activity as well. Still a little bit of earthquake activity off the coast of Ecuador ever since that big quake hit down there. And we've seen a 4.1 in Oklahoma, where all the swarms continue there. Now, like I've been saying, you're not going to see all the quakes listed on USGS or even this map, because this one, they roll off after so many are logged. But the Ring of Fire, very active. As you can see here around Taiwan, there's been an active swarm going on. Japan, still seeing at least medium-sized quakes. But you can see there's a pattern here on this ridge line, all the way up through the northern mid-Atlantic ridge. And I want to show you a couple new maps here, some different maps, and these are very interesting. And look at some volcano activity here as well. When it comes to northwest Arizona, there's been a swarm ongoing in this area near the border with Nevada. And they're saying what's weird about this is there's a bunch of faults through here that in the past they didn't think were too active, but they've discovered another one. And it looks like really they're all crisscrossing through this area, and it's very similar to what was portrayed in that movie here recently where the Hoover Dam was destroyed by earthquake and everything else. But the swarms have been popping up, and if you're trying to find them on this earthquake map, you're not going to see them there. Now, what's also interesting here is that there's been 73 earthquakes hit between two volcanoes in Costa Rica. And this I find to be very interesting, because what they're saying here, USGS and everyone else, is that they don't care about it. They're not going to report on it. There's no word, no talk of it whatsoever. Before I show you that, though, I want to point out these maps, and I'm going to leave a link because they put out a new model here for 2016, a one-year model, and this is for natural and induced quakes in damage done. And you can see here Dallas, the New Madrid they've got targeted, and around Oklahoma City, where all the fracking's going on. You can see here they add Seattle, which is in the crosshairs, around Yellowstone. This area right here on the border in Dallas. And I'll point out this here in just a second. You can see the activity here. But this says presumption of earthquakes occurring naturally. This is based on natural and induced earthquakes. And the reason is because of this. You see all this activity. This is fluid injection wells here that are associated with earthquakes just in these areas. And that one little spot that I pointed out in the border, the Raton Basin, you can see right here. That's why there's activity there. It's coming from the fracking. And the quake activity is related to fracking here in multiple places. But you can see here in southern Illinois, southern Indiana, there's a lot of earthquake-associated activity going on just north of New Madrid. Now, when going back here to the other map to show you all this activity, we'll go just east of San Jose here, and you will see this swarm that is picked up. Yeah, they won't let us go any closer. And I find that odd because even over here on this map, if you zoom in, they won't let you go in any closer either. Anyhow, we have quakes up to magnitude 3.2, worthy of hitting any of these other maps, and they're not being reported. A whole swarm. And what's very interesting here is that this is right between two volcanoes. Last time I saw something like this was in Africa, where we saw a swarm near a volcano, and the swarm took off. And as you watched it, it started hitting. You noticed it was going toward a volcano. Put out the information on it, the alerts, everything. We sat back. Matter of time, those quakes hit here, 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 and then right on the top of the volcano. And the next thing you know, we're hearing reports that it had erupted and sent off a massive plume. But things to pay attention to when you see a lot of activity, earthquake activity, especially between two different volcanoes. That's magma on the move, in my opinion. And what's interesting about this is these volcanoes obviously being vents. This is where the magma and lava has made it to the surface and been able to escape both here and here. All of a sudden, all this is building right in between the two, and there's not a whole lot of earth between these two spots. What's there right in the center, it's getting tinged. Pretty good. So since I can't get a close-up and a look at the geology and the nature of the layout of the ground here real good, especially when you have two different volcanoes here that are seeing activity as it is. You can see the last eruption here, major, October of 2014, that they have in photograph, and this Irazu right here on the other side. They've definitely shown some activity before, and we've got a good swarm going on in between the two, so wanted to make people aware of it as far as the earthquake activity and volcanic activity goes. And I'll leave all these links in the description box. Continue to keep you guys posted with more as I come across it. This has been Dabu7.